Welcome to Video Creator. Today, we explore a deeply moving story of Jesus experiencing a normal life as a humble village carpenter. In a small, dusty town, the morning sun rises over simple stone houses. Here, faith is shown through hard, honest daily labor. We often imagine grand miracles, but today we focus on quiet compassion. Jesus worked with his hands, creating things of lasting value. Many elderly people in this village lived in crumbling, unsafe shelters. The harsh winter winds brought them immense suffering and deep loneliness. Seeing their quiet struggles, Jesus gathered his closest friends and local villagers. He proposed building a strong, warm home for the elderly. They did not use magic. Instead, they relied on strong backs, calloused hands, and a shared vision of profound, practical neighborly love. The project began at dawn. Jesus knelt in the dry dirt, drawing clear architectural plans with a simple wooden stick for everyone. Young and old joined the effort. They walked to the nearby hills, carefully selecting solid stones to build a truly unbreakable foundation. Carrying heavy stones required immense physical strength and perfect teamwork. Jesus lifted the heaviest rocks, inspiring others through his tireless, silent dedication. They dug deep trenches into the hard earth. A solid foundation is essential for any house meant to protect the most vulnerable. Jesus placed the cornerstone himself. He checked its alignment with careful precision, knowing that a single stone would support the entire new structure. Using thick hemp ropes, they measured the walls. Every dimension was calculated perfectly to ensure the rooms would be spacious and comfortable. Building the walls required a special mixture. Villagers carried heavy wooden buckets of fresh water from the central well to the side. Children brought large bundles of dry straw. They laughed and played while helping, turning this demanding labor into a joyful community celebration. Men stomped barefoot in large pits, mixing thick mud, water, and straw. This ancient technique created incredibly durable and weather-resistant building materials. Jesus worked alongside them, his clothes stained with wet clay. He smiled warmly, showing that honest manual labor is a sacred duty. They formed the mud into thick bricks, leaving them to bake under the hot sun. Patience was a crucial part of building. While the bricks dried, attention turned to the wooden frames. Jesus selected the finest timber, checking the grain with his experienced hands. The sound of rhythmic song echoed through the quiet valley. Jesus taught his young disciples how to cut wood with perfect accuracy. Wood shavings danced in the gentle breeze. The smell of fresh pine filled the air, bringing a sense of peace and purpose. Using a heavy wooden mallet and sharp chisels, Jesus carved complex joints. He did not use iron nails, relying on perfect craftsmanship. The wooden beams fit together flawlessly. This strong framework would hold the heavy roof, keeping the elderly safe from terrible winter storms. Villagers formed a long line, passing the dried mud bricks hand to hand. The walls began to rise steadily toward the sky. Jesus carefully laid the bricks, ensuring every row was perfectly level. His attention to detail reflected his deep love for the people. Thick layers of wet mud were applied between the bricks. This mortar sealed the gaps, stopping cold winds from entering the home. Women brought baskets of fresh bread and cool water. The workers rested in the shade, sharing stories and enjoying their simple meal. Jesus broke the bread, handing pieces to his tired friends. This quiet moment of fellowship gave them renewed energy for the afternoon. As the walls grew taller, they built sturdy wooden scaffolds. Climbing high, they continued their hard work under the bright blue sky. Sweat poured down their faces, but no one complained. The shared goal of protecting the elderly filled their hearts with immense joy. They installed thick wooden window frames. These large windows would allow warm sunlight to fill the rooms, bringing cheer to the residents. Next came the heavy roof beams. Several strong men used thick ropes to pull the massive wooden logs up to the top. Jesus guided the heavy beams into their carved slots. The structure groaned and settled, locking together with incredible strength and perfect balance. To cover the roof, they gathered large amounts of long trees. Bundling them tightly, they created a thick, waterproof layer of thatch. Jesus climbed onto the roof, securing the bundles with strong twine. He worked quickly, knowing the autumn rains would arrive very soon. The thatched roof provided excellent insulation. It would keep the house pleasantly cool during summer and wonderfully warm throughout the freezing winter. Inside, the floors were packed with damp earth until they became as hard as stone. They swept the surface until it shined. Jesus crafted a beautiful, heavy wooden door. He carved simple, elegant patterns into the wood, adding a touch of dignity and grace. The door swung open smoothly on its sturdy wooden hinges. It was a welcoming entrance for those who had suffered so long. They built simple wooden beds and sturdy tables. Every piece of furniture was sanded smooth, preventing any splinters from harming the elderly. Women wove thick, colorful woolen blankets. These vibrant textiles added warmth and a feeling of genuine home to the plain mud walls. Small oil lamps were placed in carved niches. Their gentle, flickering flames would provide comforting light during the long, dark winter nights. The house was finally complete. It stood strong and beautiful, a true testament to what a united, loving community can achieve together. The villagers gathered outside, admiring their incredible collective achievement. Tears of joy filled their eyes as they looked at the new home. Jesus wiped the sweat from his brow, smiling quietly. He knew this physical shelter would also provide deep emotional healing and peace. It was time to bring the elderly residents. The disciples gently guided the frail men and women toward their beautiful new sanctuary. An old woman touched the smooth wooden doorframe. She wept silently, overwhelmed by the incredible kindness shown by her neighbors and friends. Jesus held an old man's trembling hand, leading him inside. The warmth of the room immediately brought a smile to his face. They sat on their new beds, amazed by the comfort. For the first time in many years, they felt truly safe tonight. The villagers brought a grand feast to celebrate. The large wooden tables were filled with roasted vegetables, fresh bread, and sweet fruits. Jesus sat among the elders, listening to their ancient stories. He treated them with the utmost respect, honoring their long, difficult lives. Laughter echoed through the sturdy mud walls. This house was no longer just a building. It had become a vibrant, loving home. True faith is not just spoken. It is built with calloused hands. It is shown through protecting the weak and the vulnerable. The carpentry skills Jesus used were ordinary, but his love made the work extraordinary. Every carved beam held his deep, quiet compassion. Outside, the stars began to shine brightly in the night sky. The village was peaceful, knowing their elders were finally sleeping safely. The next morning, Jesus returned to his small workshop. There was always more work to do, more broken things needing careful repair. He picked up his worn wooden mallet once again. The simple life of a carpenter brought him profound joy and quiet satisfaction. People from neighboring towns heard about the remarkable house. They traveled for miles to see the beautiful structure built by pure love. They were amazed not by grand miracles, but by the flawless craftsmanship. The tight joints and smooth walls spoke of incredible dedication. Jesus welcomed the curious visitors with a warm, gentle smile. He showed them his tools, explaining the value of honest, hard work. He taught them that serving others is the highest calling. A simple act of building a wall can be a sacred prayer. Inspired by his words, other villages started their own projects. A wave of kindness and rebuilding swept across the entire dusty region. Young men asked Jesus to teach them the carpentry trade. They wanted to learn how to build strong homes and stronger communities. He patiently showed them how to measure wood perfectly. He explained that a strong foundation in life requires truth, patience, and love. The elderly residents planted a small garden outside their home. They grew bright flowers and fresh herbs, adding life to the courtyard. Jesus often visited them during his short evening breaks. He helped water the fragile plants, enjoying the quiet beauty of growing things. An old blind man loved to touch the wooden furniture. He could feel the immense love carved into every smooth, perfect surface. Children played safely in the shade of the new house. Their innocent laughter was the greatest reward for all the hard labor. Winter finally arrived, bringing freezing winds and heavy, cold rain. The villagers stayed inside their homes, listening to the fierce, howling storm. Inside the house were the elderly. The air remained warm. The thick mud walls and thatched roof completely blocked the bitter cold. They sat around a small fire, feeling deeply grateful. The strong wooden roof above them held firm against the violent, pouring rain. Jesus walked through the storm to check on the elders. He knocked on the heavy wooden door, his clothes soaked with rain. They welcomed him inside with open arms and joyful tears. He dried his wet cloak by the fire, smiling at their safety. This storm proved the true strength of their collective labor. The house stood unshaken, a permanent symbol of unyielding faith and love. When spring returned, the village blossomed with new, vibrant life. The house where the elderly stood proudly in the bright morning sun. signing off with peace and blessings. May your daily work be filled with purpose, love, and immense joy.